lovely listeners, learners, students all over the world. For our Today Economics Online class, we shall be discussing on economics methodology and analysis. Economics methodology and analysis. Now, what do we mean by economics methodology and analysis? Economics methodology and analysis may be defined as the procedure or methods of reasoning economic phenomena. Okay, so that is economics methodology or analysis. The way we reason, the way we position sentence, the way we position economic sentences in economics is called economics methodology or analysis. And economics methodology has to follow the procedure of science. That's the reason why I do tell people that economics can be viewed from a science perspective, and it can also be viewed from art perspective, because we agree that economics is a social science, a science that deals with human beings, the relationship. How did human beings normally generate their funds and how they spend their funds prudently? Is that taken? So economics as a science, why? Because it adopts scientific procedures or methods. And you know that when we are talking about scientific procedures or method, we are referring in terms of, or we are relating in terms of observation, collection of data, interpretation, formulation of hypotheses, testing of hypotheses. Those are procedures of science. Is that taken? So economics is a social science, and also economics is a science. Why? Because it adopts scientific procedures or methods. Now, when we are talking about economics methodology or analysis, it may be defined as the procedure or methods of reasoning economic phenomena. Yes, how do we reason economic phenomena? That is what this topic is concerned about. Is that taken? So that is that. So we now have majorly types of economic analysis. Okay, types of economics analysis or methods, right? Number one is inductive. We have the inductive and deductive economic method of reasoning. Is that taken? That is number one. Number one is inductive and deductive economic method of reasoning. Is that taken? So please permit me the way I'm short writing my words is because of the space of the board, right? So we have inductive and deductive economic method of reasoning. So number two is positive. We have positive and normative economic method of reasoning. Am I communicating? We have the positive and normative economic method of reasoning. Is that okay? Now let's now take it up from number one. We have number one to be inductive. For number one we have inductive, right, and deductive economic method of reasoning. Is that taken? You see, you will discover that for our Roman figure 1 we have 2-in-1 intuitions, and number 2 we also have 2-in-1, right, which are positive and normative economics method of reasoning respectively. Am I communicating? Now, going by this number 1, which is inductive and deductive method of economic reasoning, you see these two, right, are theoretical analysis. They are reasoning in theoretical economics. Am I communicating? Now let me take it up from number 1. We have the inductive economic method of reasoning. Okay, now when we are talking about inductive economic method of reasoning, we are talking about inferences or conclusions that emanated from a single person to the particular. There is inferences or conclusions that emanated from a particular. When I mention particular, I'm referring to single person, to the general. Okay, there is a kind of assumption that an individual person perceives that it is right, which the general public now accepts that it is right. That is called inductive economic method of reasoning. A kind of inferences or conclusions that emanated from a single person to the general or to the general public. Am I communicating? So that is it. A typical example of this kind of intuition is that of Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton assumption that says that what comes down, there is a law of gravity. Is that again, there is what is at the top most surely comes down. That is an assumption of a single person, of which a lot of people now accepted that it is right. Is that again? So it's an example of inductive economic method of reasoning. Another example is that of the Adam Smith's absolute advantage, and likewise David Ricardo comparative analysis or advantage. Is that again? So those are examples under what? Under inductive economics method of reasoning. There is a kind of inferences that a single person perceives that it is right, which other people now accepted it to be right. That is inductive economics method of reasoning. Now we proceed to number Roman figure 2 aspect of it, which is deductive economic method of reasoning. Deductive economic method of reasoning. Deductive economic method of reasoning. It has to do with inferences, okay, or conclusion that emanated, from the general to a particular, to a particular, okay, or to an individual. Is that taken? So that is deductive economic method of reasoning. That is what the general public perceives that it is right, of which an individual now accepted it that it is right. That is deductive economic method of reasoning. A typical example under this is that they say coronavirus kills, but the truth is, have you ever seen a person that is being killed by coronavirus? That is the truth. Though it might sound like a fallacy, but it is right that coronavirus is real. So we now proceed to aspect number 2, which is the positive. We have the positive, the positive and normative economic method of reasoning. Economic method of reasoning. Positive and normative economic method of reasoning. Am I communicating? Now we have the positive aspect, which is the first one to be positive. We have the positive, positive, right? Economic method. Positive economic method of reasoning. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the positive and normative economic method of reasoning, right, we are actually talking in terms of the modern economic analysis. Is that again? Because both the positive and the normative economic method of reasoning are the standard modern economic analysis, right? The positive side is this. The positive economic method of reasoning is based on facts and figure. Am I communicating? There is a kind of intuition that is based on facts and figure. That is positive economic method of reasoning. So it is a kind of inferences or conclusion that indicates